Good day, students. Today we are going to talk on yet another interesting topic, public speaking. What did I say? Public speaking. Of course, we have been undergoing different types of writing, be it argumentative writing, letter writing, expository writing, and so many. All put together, I am going to talk generally on them under this particular topic. The knowledge of what we are about to discuss will help you to be a better person when it comes to writing, whether the writing is internal or public. Is that clear? And as usual, I expect you to know the following by the end of the lesson. By the end of the lesson, under instructional objectives, by the end of the lesson, you should be able to first identify the requirements for writing a good speech. B, list the structure or parts of a good speech. C, write a good speech. Remember before now, you've been writing. Don't bother because I called it public speaking. The speech that you've written, the essays that you've been writing. When you are now called up to do what? Read it out to an audience. So it's expected that you know all the rudiments, all the requirements you needed to study in order to be a good public speaker. Are we there? So that when you present a speech anywhere, people will pay you a great homage. Our reference points, we have our new concept English book, 1 Senior Secondary by Joy Eyishi and Co. Pages 108 to 190. It is true that you are not required to give a talk in any oral English examination. Is that not? But the relevance of good speech in English can never be overemphasized. It is important that you master the techniques for public speaking now in your secondary school, so that at any time or in any place, you can do what? You can face an audience comfortably and deliver a speech to them with the confidence and fluency that is expected of an educational person. Is that clear? So, having known the background of our topic, I want us to start in earnest with the requirements for a good speech. We are going to discuss the requirements for a good speech. So, having known that any good public speaker must do what? Get himself or herself prepared. And there's something that we can never overlook. As I rightly said, that good speech in English can never be overemphasized. Because of that, we are now going to look at the requirements for a good speech. Number one, good preparation. For you to be able to have a good speech, you must do what? Prepare very well. Success in any speech delivering depends on an adequate preparation. You must therefore spend time to prepare well for any speech before the date of delivering. Remember, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Therefore, make sure you do your homework before you expect any good speech. Secondly, self-confidence. You must hold yourself well and be able to do what? Be ready to present a work that is good not just to yourself, but to your audience. And that's why I said, for a good speech delivering, you must have confidence in yourself. This is important because you need self-confidence to win the confidence of your audience. In other words, if you do not have confidence in yourself, you can hardly win the confidence of your audience. And that is why good preparation must be done. When you have grips of all you are going to present, you find out that you'll be confident and you march into the hall without any much problems. Is that clear? Number 3, fluency in speaking English. At this point, very, very important. As you are just growing, I would advise you, please marry as many novels as possible. Read them, get the wordings there. Read as many newspapers as possible, so that your fluency in English language will just be something we call superb. Therefore, requirements for what? For a good speech. Number 3 says fluency in speaking English. You must be fluent in your use of English language, which normally is the language needed for official purposes in Nigeria. If you cannot communicate well, if you cannot speak good English, I wonder how you expect to present a good speech to any given audience. There is no way. So learn now that you're in secondary school to have a grip of anything around you that is called good English. Are we together? Your ability to pronounce English words correctly is essential here. To develop your competence, regular use of good dictionaries is recommended. Not only reading your novels, your newspapers, your journals, please marry your dictionary too. Time to time, shortlist words, learn how they are being used in the dictionary, and then as you write, use them, both written and then speaking. Don't be shy, so that by the time you become an adult fully, you find out that speaking in the public will just be a small game for you. Requirement number 4, use of gestures. Of course, you should ask yourself, the deaf and dumb, how do they learn? I'm happy that you've seen so many of them occupy positions of authority. You've seen so many of them teaching you. You've seen so many of them coming out as lawyer, doctor, this or that. It's not just miracle, it's not by chance. They have done their homework very well by the use of a gesture. That's why I said it is also necessary that you know how to use gestures such as body movements, eye contact, and hand gestures to add some color to your speech. When you make use of your body while delivering your speech, you find out that someone that could not hear what you speak very well, maybe through your body movement, understand whatever that you want to deliver. You know that one very well. For example, a particular native language may be used in the course of teaching, or giving out a speech. Even when that particular native language is not known by you, but the way the presenter gesticulates, you'll be able to do what? Deduce whatever the person is doing through his body movement or his hand gesture or eye contact. Is that not? Exactly. It's just true. Requirement number 5, right choice of vocabulary. Oh, my Lord. Of course you know, no matter the level of your audience, right choice of vocabulary is very, very important when it has to do with a good speech. Number 5, right choice of vocabulary. A good speech demands that your choice of vocabulary must be acceptable not only in English language but also to your audience. You should therefore bear your audience in mind as you choose the words to use in your speech. Whether you are going to address market people, whether you are going to address Agbero in the park, whether it's a learned organization or gathering, no matter the level of people you speak to, what is important here is that you must choose appropriate choice of words for such group so that your communication will be understood by everybody. Is that taken? Never you use the language of the students, the tertiary students, the university students, to common market women and men that you gather in the course of a rally. You know your message can never be conveyed if you don't understand what we mean by right choice of vocabulary. Any given group that is going to listen to you, there is always need for you to do what? Use the vocabulary, the words that they will understand without anybody explaining to them, so that whatever you want them to know, they should be able to do what? Know quickly. Next, requirement 6, use of humor. It is also advisable that you try to add some humor to our speech. This will make your presentation lively. Some persons do make mistakes when it comes to this point. When they are delivering their lecture or their speech, you will see their face or their faces as stony as ever. You begin to wonder whether they are fighting with anybody. Therefore, our lesson this day is advising all of us, now that we're still in secondary level, when you are preparing any good speech, learn to make use of humor. Present your speech in such a way that you are not frightening anybody, but you are entertaining everybody listening to you in one way or the other, using correct tenses, correct English to get that. Number 7, clarity and simplicity. Try to avoid the use of high-sounding words. Instead, use simple words to make your speech clear and acceptable to your listeners. It's just like what we said in the right choice of words. By the time you use the appropriate word or words to a group, you find out that they will listen to you, and then whatever message you're passing across will be acceptable by all of them. But when you fail to use appropriate word meant for the level of people you're talking to, you find out that you'll be wasting your time there. You will just move and move and move, and at the end of the day, you will see that if not more than half of the people listening to you cannot do what? Understand what you say. You are not communicating. Therefore, there is need for you to know that high standard sounding words, they are meant for a group that could understand that, but not all groups, not all gathering that you use a high standard words. Make sure that the wordings you use in your speech, if you actually want to deliver a good speech, make sure that they are clear and very simple to the level of the people you are communicating to. Is that clear? Requirement number 8, varieties of sentences. Of course, you are still in the course of learning. Learn to use your short and your long sentences and link your words very well. Do not use only one sentence type. Rather, vary the types of sentences you use, such as simple, complex, and compound sentences. One type will bore your audience, especially if it is an enlightened audience. They will be bored. Therefore, learn to combine your sentences so that those listening to you will be actually happy. And then learn. 2, number 9, time management. Very important. Before you start writing anything or any write-up or any essay that you need to deliver before an audience, please, there is need for you to find out how many minutes you are expected to talk in such gathering. That will enable you to do what? To know how to manage your time. A particular good speech that should last for 3 hours. For the fact that you do not know that you only have 3 hours and you think a whole day will be given to you, you find out that when you get into the hall for such gathering, you'll be messed up because a whole day will never be given to you. Once it's 3 hours, the MC will tap and then ask you to do what? To free the stage. And it will be an embarrassment to you. Therefore, you must learn to do what? Find out from the organizers of a particular gathering where you are going to give out your speech so that you have idea of the time. And then make sure that your speech will revolve around the time allocation so that nobody will push you out of the stage and then nobody will force you into the stage. Is that taken? Requirement number 9. This is crucial. You must be able to manage the time allocated for the speech you are presenting properly so that you round off sections of your speech without any hitches. For example, in a school debate, every speaker has a time duration. Of course, you experience this one all the time. Your ability to adapt to the duration required is very important. I've explained all this. You must learn to be aware of the time allocated to your speech so that you work within that time limit. The other one is what? Part of a speech. What do I mean by that? We have been discussing the requirements you needed to write a good speech. Is that not? Now, having exhausted all the requirements we needed when we are preparing to write a speech and deliver a speech, what we are now going to look at is part of a good speech. What are expected of you in your speech? What do audience expect to see or hear in your speech? That is what we are going to discuss briefly. Every good speech must possess 3 major parts. What did I say? Every good speech must possess 3 major parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. And we're going to take them one by one. Introduction. The introduction of any speech is very important. It must be carefully and tactfully done with a view to stimulating the interest of your audience. Never you make your introduction boring. Look out for so many sayings so that you use them and introduce your topic. And the saying must relate to the day's topic. Remember. Is that clear? You may decide to start by telling a brief story. Remember, I said the introduction of any speech is very important. It must be carefully and tactfully done with a view to stimulating the interest of your audience. You may decide to start by telling a brief story in relation to the theme of the speech. You may even use a good quotation that is also in line with the topic of the speech. Good statements, questions, or famous saying may be acceptable, provided they relate to the theme of the speech. Very, very important. Any introduction that you wish to use in all these that I've mentioned, make sure it has something to do with the topic of the day. The next one. Remember, we are still discussing the parts of a speech, how your speech should look like. What and what is it supposed to have? That is what I'm explaining. Having explained introduction, the next one is a body. Just the way we have body in essay writing, in our letter writing, we still have a body of any speech or body of any essay. The second part of any speech is the body. This is the part that contains the message of your speech. Very important. All what you want your audience to hear and listen is centered in this particular body. Whatever you want to say, paragraph by paragraph, you dish it out to them, which you need to deliver to your audience. You must arrange the body of your speech in logical order and with supporting details that are relevant to the topic. And that is why, if you remember, in the course of treating some other types of essays, I do remind you people, keep undergoing the training we've given you. Brainstorm before you write. Just to enable you do what? Gather yourself together and arrange your points in order of importance, so that you'll be able to carry your audience there along. So in the course of writing the body of your speech, learn to do what? Pick whatever you are discussing one after the other in paragraphs, using appropriate vocabularies. Is that clear? Finally, remember that for all the parts of the speech to be complete, you must include parts of a good speech. For all the parts of the speech to be complete, you must include parts of a good speech and requirements that you were taught to the joy and satisfaction of your audience. By the time you combine both the parts and requirements that we just discussed into a given speech that you are writing, you find out that you are going to come out a better student or a better presenter. And people listening to you will actually know that they are listening to a scholar, not one done depicted somewhere. Is that clear? So having said that, I hope I'm able to manage the topic very well to your own understanding. Now you have just 2 questions to answer. And except you paid attention in the course of the lesson, I'm sure you won't be able to give me a right answer. If not, right answers to my questions. Evaluation. Answer these questions. 1. What are the 3 parts of a good speech? We just finished discussing that. Yes. Think and tell me. What are the 3 parts of a good speech? Of course, 3 parts of a good speech. We have the introduction, we have the body of the speech, and then conclusion. Right. Question 2. Mention 5 requirements necessary for a good speech. Of course, I gave you more than 5. Is that not true? Yes. I remember that we discussed. Yes, who will tell me the first one? The first one is what? Good preparation. If you want to have a good soup, a good meal, you must do what? Prepare. The same thing to speech. The first one is what? Good preparation. The second one is what? Self-confidence. You can pick any one. Another one could be use of gestures. Another one could be use of humor. Another one could be right choice of vocabulary. Another one could be, and very important, time management. You can't do without that. Another one could be clarity and simplicity. It depends on the angle you decide to give unto your answers. Is that clear? Is that taking? So look at your screen and then you will go down the lane. The answers I've just given you. Answers to the questions. Question A, you have your introduction, the body, and conclusion. Question B, B1, time management. 2, clarity and simplicity. 3, good preparation. 4, self-confidence. 5, right choice of vocabulary. And there are 10. I mean, there are 9. So you could start anywhere. Is that taken? Okay. So having said that, we'll move to the last segment of our lesson, which is a assignment, of which very important too. Go to page 181 of your New Concept English Book 1 Senior Secondary. Exercise 1. Choose one of the topics from the list and prepare a good speech, following the requirements taught and the parts of a good speech. Studied. Merge the two together and then try to fuse them into the topic you decide to pick. And then after which you write. Submit to your teacher. And I'm sure your teacher will be there to correct if the need be. And as you practice, you become a better student. So, by this, we've come to the end of our lesson today. Till we meet again. See you in our next class.